It's something trying to build you. It's something that is trying to allow you to grow from something that you're not quite seeing within yourself. Because like I said, everything that's happening inward is being projected outward. So if you're dealing with a lot of people, if you're going through a lot of cycles and loops of people not appreciating you, they're not really sticking up for you, whatever the case may be, it's really calling you to kind of really look at yourself. Greetings and gratitude. Welcome to my channel, Life Coach with Z. It's your girl Z, aka Zalia. I am a spiritual life coach and healer. And this is my podcast called Wonders of the Human Experience. So thank you for being here. The first episode, we're going to be dissecting a very deep topic, childhood trauma, aka childhood programming. And we're going to go really deep with this one, okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. I do want to say I got my tea and we're going to have a great time, right? So I have a dandelion in here. I got some matcha green tea with some turmeric and this kidney blend that helps kind of cleanse the kidney and whatnot. So yeah, we're going to be sipping on that as we talk about this. If you have anything to drink, if you don't have anything to drink, I advise you to get some because this might make you a little thirsty. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get right on into it. So childhood programming, man, I don't think people understand and overstand how deep rooted this really, it really controls everything. It really is how we are going to be. This is how it's going to literally shape us to be who we are from teenage all the way to adult, young adult. It really does truly shape who we are. What we go through as children, it really does have a lot to do with our older years. So even when it comes down to, for an example, if you're someone like me, I want to say a majority of people in this world, on this earth, has experienced some pretty overwhelming traumatic experience, right? We've all kind of sort of dealt with something that either, has caused us to have anxiety, fear, insecurities, whether it's something dealing with self-talk, anything, abuse, neglect, dealing with all kinds of form of suffering, pain, you name it. I'm sure, a grand majority of us have experienced that. And when we go through stuff like that as children, it can be really confusing. And since we are just now coming onto this earth, we don't know better. We take on these energies, right? We take on these energies and we kind of use those energies to kind of dictate how we live our lives. And, depending on how you were raised, that can either work with you or work against you. So this stuff, it runs so deep. It runs extremely deep. And if you're not able to actually get to the issues, the root issue of why you are the way that you are still to this day, it's going to be very hard for you. If you aren't able to actually figure out why you project, why you have such a negative self-talk with yourself, it can be very, very confusing, and it can be very harmful to yourself. And not only to yourself, but just people around you as well. So I want to start off by saying that there is, beauty. There's beauty in the dark and the light. I want people to kind of understand and understand that when we talk about darkness and when we talk about light, It's not something to pin against each other. We need both. We do need both. And there is beauty in both if you are able to actually see the beauty in both. Now, it's pretty easy to see the beauty in happiness and love and harmony. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty easy to do that. It's not really a challenge for you to see the beauty in that. But when it comes to things that we've dealt with, like abuse, whether it was, SA, whether it was emotional abuse, whether it was financial abuse, physical abuse, all sorts of abuse, mental abuse, whether it was something regarding, sorry, I had to put that, whether it was something regarding literally anything, insecurities, fear, I mean, you name it, if it hurt, I mean, it's kind of hard to see the beauty in those things, right? So, like I said, I want to say a grand majority of us have experienced very harsh things in our lives. And it's very hard to see the beauty in the pain. It's very hard to see the beauty in the suffering and the challenges and the turmoil, the turmoil. I think that's how you say it, turmoil, something like that. And it really takes a lot of effort within yourself for you to see that. And I kind of want to help people with that. I do consider myself a light and dark integration teacher because I'm all about balance. I'm all about bringing the two together and seeing how we can work with both and not shut one or the other out. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, like I said, it does take a lot of inner work for you to see the beauty in those things. But what I kind of want to explain to people is that say picture this. Say if you wanted to grow in life, right? Say if there was something that you saw somebody. Let's say you saw somebody that was very strong, resilient, very confident in themselves, stuff that a lot of people typically ask for. A lot of people ask to be certain things, ask to be certain ways, but they don't realize what it takes to actually get to those points, right? So you would say you want to be more strong, you want to be more resilient, you want to be someone that can, adapt to certain things, that can counter yourself for certain things. Well, when we do stuff like that, and when we want to be a better person, the only way for you to be a better person, and I'm not saying it's the only way, actually. I'm not going to say it's the only way, but the best way for you to be that person is for you to go through the suffering, the pain, the sometimes the abuse, and it's just a matter of how can you take from that, you see? So I kind of want to take a step back a little bit and kind of explain childhood programming and the triggers, the trauma, and the stuff that we go through. So, man, this is a topic right here. So I want to say that for many generations, we have been in this karmic cycle, this karmic loop of, us either not tending to our emotions, our mental, our spiritual, and even as far as, our physical health, and that stuff, it waits. It that energy does not get cleared, it just settles and it grows and it festers. So when you have generations after generations of generations of generations of people that have not taken the necessary time or wasn't able to take the necessary time to actually dedicate the healing to certain things, to certain energies, it gets passed along. It definitely gets passed along to whoever the next person. So for me, for example, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have experienced, very narcissistic behaviors from my parents, emotional abuse, emotional neglect. I've been shut down. So I do have some moments where I'm not able to quite express myself. And, regardless if that comes from this childhood Because I do know that a lot of stuff also kind of pertains to our past lives, our parallel lives. And that also kind of is a whole other topic that I'm not even going to get into right now. I'm going to probably do another different episode with that, touching base on that. But a lot of those energies, they don't get cleared, right? They don't get cleared. So when they don't get cleared and they fester and they build up, you know, it really takes a lot on someone when they actually choose to feel that energy, to learn how to transmute that energy and to learn how to really navigate through that energy. It takes a lot. So, but when you have people that, you know, haven't cleared the energy, it builds. It builds. And when we are so programmed, like heavily programmed with when it comes to societal ways of thinking and taking action upon certain things, that's also harmful as well, because we have all been taught that, to believe in religious things, to believe in certain ways of how the media portrays things. It's all programming, and it all matters, and it all literally has something to do with how we act into this day, this now moment. So it goes really deep. It goes really deep, extremely deep. But I kind of want to bring this perspective in. So, you know how people say, listen to your body, listen to what your body is saying and what your body is communicating with you. So, a lot of times, our bodies send pain receptors, because what's the quickest way to get your attention on something? Pain, 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 right? Same thing with the experiences that we have in these now moments. It's the same thing. What's happening inward is also happening outwardly. So when we go through these different experiences that have like an end result of pain, or kind of have like a surface level of pain, it's calling us to look at it more in a different perspective, in a different view. It's asking you to pay attention to something, to quite something else, something that you're not quite putting your attention on. And eventually, if you don't put your attention on it, it's going to keep sending you those same cycles, right? So a lot of people, they get caught up in the same loops, the same cycles, and they don't really know why. Well, the main thing is you're not really putting your attention onto something that is quite asking you to put your attention on. So let's say you're someone that, what example could I say? Let's say, um, let's see. What is a great example? Let's just say you're someone that kind of wants to step into your power more. Okay, so in terms of stepping more into your power, that has to do a lot with boundaries. That has to do a lot with boundaries within yourself, and boundaries with through people outside of you as well. So typically, what happens is when you want to stand in your power, when you want to take your power back, you will go through certain experiences that will test you on that. And some people, they won't quite realize that, it's something testing them. It's something that's, trying to give them what they asked for. But because we have such a way of thinking, a narrow mind way of thinking, that because I asked for this, I'm going to receive it how I think I'm going to receive it. And that ain't how the universe works. The universe is not going to give you the easy way to receive certain things. Now, it's possible that you can receive the easy way to certain things. It just depends on where you are on your journey. But for the most part, if you are just not starting, if you've, never really had any experience with stepping in your power, you're going to go through the challenges. You're going to go through experiences where it's going to force you to really do that. So one thing that I teach my clients is one thing to really look out for that's going to give you an opportunity to grow is to kind of identify when you're uncomfortable, right? Are you uncomfortable with telling people no? Are you uncomfortable with calling people out when they do certain things that you don't like? Are you uncomfortable with reserving your energy and not necessarily, protecting your energy? Those are very key questions that you would have to ask yourself in order for you to actually ideally step into your power, right? I had some orange pills that I was boiling with this. I can taste the orange. It's kind of good. It's a little hot. But that's just a quick example about how that's just a quick example that I wanted to kind of give. So back to what I was saying about how there's beauty in the light and the dark aspects. So the dark is the divine, the light is the divine. Everything is the divine, it's source, it's all part of the same thing, it's all part of the same source, the same creation of some higher form than us. So I want to say, when we go through the trauma, suffering, the pain, and the abuse, when you get to a point where you are just tired of it, you're just tired of it, you're sick of it, you're sick of being, you know, what's it called? A people pleaser. You're sick of being insecure. You're sick of being inferior. You're sick of whatever it is whatever energy that you kind of clung on to as a child. You're kind of tired. You sometimes, you just get tired of it, right? So when it comes to stuff like that, that's kind of when you step into that questioning period, right? So when you step into that period of what am I doing here? What is this? Why do I feel this way? Why is this happening to me? A lot of people ask that. Why is this happening to me, right? I know some of y'all do that. I know a lot of y'all be doing that because my clients do it. And I know for a fact that a lot of people that I've seen on social media, they'll be like, why is this happening to me? Oh, and that is like a perfect question that I like to answer for people. So in terms of the why, the perspective that I want to give for the why is what is it that you can take the beauty from whatever you are experiencing? Because 9 times out of 10, it's something trying to build you. It's something that is trying to allow you to grow from something that you're not quite seeing within yourself. Because like I said, everything that's happening inward is being projected outward. So if you're dealing with a lot of people, if you're going through a lot of cycles and loops of people not appreciating you, they're not really sticking up for you, whatever the case may be, it's really calling you to kind of really look at yourself. Really look at yourself. Like another thing, a lot of people, they want love from people. They want to be loved and they want to be cared and appreciated. You know, that's a natural human thing, in my opinion. That's natural for us to want to be appreciated, cared for, and loved. But the thing is, like I said, whatever is happening inward will show you outwardly. So if you are not appreciating yourself, if you are not loving yourself, and if you're not taking the necessary precautions to protect yourself, how do you expect other people to do that, And it comes to a point where you either end up kind of isolating yourself from people, from things, whatever the case may be for you, or you continue that cycle, that loop. And you don't have to. You don't have to feel stuck, and you don't have to feel like you have to keep, being around people that don't appreciate yourself. What it's asking you to really do is to really take a step back and look at yourself. What is it that you are not either accepting of, loving of, appreciative of? What is it that is making yourself so uncomfortable that when other people, when other people kind of approach you on whatever it is that you're uncomfortable with, and you kind of see that and you think it's like an attack, but really it's trying to tell you, hey, that's something like triggers are a great way to kind of see, what it is that you need to work on. It's kind of just telling you like, hey, I need attention. I need a little bit of attention in this area, And I'll give y'all a great example. So for me, I want to say I felt extremely uncomfortable with my circumstances. And I think a lot of people can resonate with this. I felt extremely uncomfortable, and I always thought it was, a bad thing to go through hardships, to go through challenges, and I didn't really quite accept it. I knew I had to go through it, but I didn't really accept the fact like, okay, although it's very hard, although it's very challenging, and although it's something that I created, it doesn't make me, that doesn't really necessarily say that is of you, and this also kind of ties in with the art of detachment, and I'm going to do another episode about the art of detachment as well. But when we are extremely uncomfortable with something within ourselves, it will outwardly shine. Something will shine on that. And more than likely it'll appear as a trigger. So the best way to know what to work on and how to work on it is to listen to whatever pain, whatever is uncomfortable, and whatever is triggering you, whether it's triggering you to run from it, whether it's triggering you to be in fear of it, those are great indicators to tell you whether or not if there's something you need to work on inwardly. And like I said, for the longest, I was extremely uncomfortable with a lot of stuff that I thought was bad. But like I said, my circumstances do not make me. It doesn't. That's not me. I'm not of my circumstances. Yes, that may be what it seems like, but that is not who I am to my core, my truest core. That does not represent who I really am. Like, we have this idea that the material that we have, whether or not you have a lot of it or a little bit of it, kind of holds our value. It kind of holds weight to who we are as beings, to our true core. Oh my gosh, hold up. I don't know how my dandelion. I might cut that. I probably won't. Ooh, that's hot. But it's so good. But yeah, triggers, it really does tell you a lot about what you need to work on. And it really starts to show up once you are kind of like in your young adult. Like, it'll even show up even earlier than that, but I feel like when we're extremely young, we're not really necessarily paying so much attention to it until it's like screaming at us, like until you really experience something that is really going to make you be like, why is this happening to me? And like I said, I love to answer that question with, what can you take out of the situation that you haven't paid attention to, that you haven't quite put your attention on? What is it that is making you so uncomfortable that you are not able to face or put your attention on exactly what it is that you need to look at? And a lot of that, like I said, it can stem from our childhood programming. A lot of times we are shunned, we are shut down, and we are, not necessarily able to express ourselves certain ways because, they call it disrespectful, or they call it, we're talking out of line, that we're just kids and that we shouldn't have a voice. We get taught that really early on in our lives, and that stuff really, it's extremely harmful. But especially when people have this way of telling children, this is one that's I've noticed very extremely heavy. A lot of people have this tendency to be like, because I said so. Because I said so. You know, that also goes to show you how programmed we really are. Because when children are questioning us, which they are allowed to do, they are not asking to sort of push your authority, or to make you seem like you're not the boss, or whatever the case may be. Children are genuinely asking you a question. Children are very curious, and they want to know certain things. This is how they learn, by asking questions. And then we get to a point in our teenage years and in our young adults, and our parents are like, why you didn't tell me that? Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you ask? Why you did this? Why you did that? Well, you told me because you said so. So it's small stuff like that that can really, like, it works that quick, and it works really, like, it's such a very, very deep rooted thing. So we have to be extremely mindful when it comes to not only how we speak to ourselves, but how we speak to other people too. And really take a step back and ask yourself, is this my ego? Am I projecting? Is this something that happened to me as a child that I am now, since I don't know another way how to really kind of go about the situation, and I'm kind of gonna go about it, my own way, in a sense of projecting. You have to really ask yourself those things if you really truly want to grow. So, like I said, children are not asking us questions to be disobedient. They're not asking you to interrogate you. They're not asking you to be combative. They're genuinely asking you guys questions, which we should be doing. And a lot of reasons why we get into certain situations is because we don't question it. You see? So this is why it's so important to be mindful about what we say to ourselves and to other people. Now, another thing I kind of want to talk about when it comes to childhood programming and our triggers and just trauma in general is how, if you really take a step back and you kind of look at it, it's like our fuel. When we go through trauma and pain and suffering, it's literally our fuel, if you are able to even perceive it that way, right? So, for example, if you're someone that didn't grow up with your parents giving you emotional needs, they didn't tend to your emotional needs, you were neglected, they didn't really love on you, they didn't really accept you for who you are, that in terms is not trying to tell you that you aren't deserving of that, but it's more so trying to tell you to kind of go more inward and kind of give it to yourself. And this one is really great because I have a client, and she has this issue, with one of her parents that weren't very accepting of her, right? And I asked her, I was like, you accept yourself, right? You accept that part of yourself that they don't, right? She said yes, right? And then I asked her, okay, so what makes you think you need that from your dad? What makes you think you need that from your mother? What makes you think you need that from anybody? What makes you think you need self-acceptance when you already have given it to yourself? That is same way for the love, the appreciation. It's the same thing. When we are not given certain things, it is literally forcing us to go inward to find it ourselves. And a lot of people have already done that. You know, a lot of people have already gone through the process of self acceptance, of self love, but they tend to hold on what happened to them in the past instead of looking at it in a point of view of it happened for you. Because now that you know that you can give yourself your own self acceptance, that's amazing. That's major. You don't have to go outside yourself to earn something that you already have given yourself. You see the power in that? Oh, I'm sorry, my voice kind of. You see the power in that, though, right? Like it's extremely powerful when you are able to give yourself something that you didn't necessarily receive as a child. Now, like I said, a lot of people have experienced this. There's a lot of people that didn't receive love as a child, but I guarantee you, whatever area that they weren't loved in, they have given it to themselves. I guarantee you. And if they haven't, they are on their ways of learning how to. And, you know, however way it's being shown up, because, you know, like I said, the universe has its own way of teaching us things. So whatever you personally experience will kind of show you what it is that you need to give to yourself. Give it to yourself. Protect your own energy. Give you love on yourself. Take care of yourself. Appreciate yourself and watch how you transform into this person that don't need it outside of you. Like, do y'all see the power in that? And mind you, we have everything within, everything that we've ever needed, that we've ever asked for people outside of us. It's always have been within us. But it takes that trauma, that pain, that suffering, that abuse, that neglect for us to actually realize, oh, wow, I was actually able to still give that to myself despite me not receiving it. That's powerful. That's power. That's extremely powerful. So, really, you have to really sit up there and ask yourself and really allow yourself to take a step back and to really disconnect, not disconnect, but let go and to not hold on to what happened to you and learn how it is happening for you, because you cannot change the past. You cannot change what have already happened. You can only take what you can from it. And why not take the beauty from these things? You know, why not take the light from it? Why not learn how to reshape what we go through and turn it into the most beautiful thing ever? Why not turn it into power? You know, why not? You know, nobody wants to. I'm sure a lot of people don't like the feeling of insecureness, you know, of insecurity. I don't even know if that's a word, of being insecure, of being in fear. I'm sure a lot of people don't like that feeling. But a lot of people also do not take the dedication to actually take the time to figure out why they feel that and to ask themselves, okay, what can I take from it in order to move forward in my life and to not allow your past to hold you back. Because truth be told, it is always something from our past that is holding us back, that is keeping us from being the person, the best version of ourselves that we want to be, that we truly want to be. So really, you have to ask yourself. And one thing that one thing that I want to also discuss is a lot of times people will talk about self-love and they want to talk about self-forgiveness. But I want to give y'all a tip, a very quick tip about how I figured out how you could automatically get self-love and self-forgiveness by self-acceptance. And like I said earlier, what is something, when you have the time, if you really have the time, hell, you can do it now. You can do it now as I'm asking this. What is something that is making you uncomfortable? What is it that you are fearful of? And really sit down and dissect it. Because I'm telling you guys, we create these mental blocks and they don't have to be there. They don't have to be there. They don't have to be there. And 9 times out of 10, it comes from our childhood traumas, our programming. So really ask yourself, what makes me uncomfortable what is something within myself that makes me uncomfortable, regardless of whatever it is. And literally right then and there, tell yourself, I accept you. I accept that part of you. I accept all parts of you, not just the dark, not just the light, but you accept all of it, and that it is okay to accept the darkness, the lightness. It's okay to accept all of you, all of who you are. It is okay to accept that. And I promise you, the more and more and more you accept whatever makes you uncomfortable within yourself, you will automatically, I'm telling you guys, I'm literally this close to crying. I'm telling you guys, you will automatically learn how to give yourself that love and that forgiveness. I'm telling y'all, I've been there. I've been there. One day I was outside. I'm talking to myself. It's dark, I'm outside on the patio. I'm like, man, why do my spirit guides, why are my ancestors telling me that I need to accept something of myself? I do accept myself, but that wasn't the truth. I wasn't being completely honest with myself. And that's when I have this whole realization that the quote unquote bad stuff that we go through, we think it's so embarrassing. We think it literally makes us who we are, and that's not true. You are not of your circumstances. That does not make who you are. You went through it. It happened, but that does not make you. It does not create who you are to this very day, right? So once I learned that, I'm like, oh shit. Are you kidding me? This whole time I wasn't being acceptance of the quote unquote bad stuff, my circumstances, and that's what's stopping me from fully accepting myself? What? What? So yeah, please guys, I really encourage this. When you have the time, like I said, I hope you just did it. Really ask yourself, what am I uncomfortable with? Whether it's something with your body, whether it's something the way you think, how you talk to yourself, whether it's in another great way, how you can kind of see also what it is how you talk to other people. Say you are on the road and you got like kind of like an anger problem. That's telling you a great flag. That's ding ding ding, like that's telling you immediately like, dang, like I have some issues. Not even necessarily issues, but I have some things that I haven't quite worked on, developed to the point where it's not altering my emotions. It's not making me emotionally driven, because we want to be emotionally intelligent. That's one thing that we have lacked. And that's why we don't tend to our emotions and we don't tend to our mental health, because we lack the intelligence and the importance of our emotions, of our mental health. So really take the time to sit and ask yourself these things. But I think I'm going to just wrap this up. I'm not really getting anything else that I need to say about this. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. You can either even DM me on TikTok. My name is @RenderOfMars. You can message me on there. I'll also have my website in the link. So if you feel called to work with me, if you feel called to kind of whatever the case may be, I have free consultations. I really advise you guys to really take the steps to really invest into yourselves and to really get down to the nitty gritty of our minds and our emotions. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys for listening. Oh my gosh. So much more content coming very soon. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share, and peace.